said, "How you doing, old boy?" He said, "I'm dying." And we all know in our hearts how it was hard for him at the time, you know. And I said, "Well, James, you're doing awful good, old buddy. Everybody's pulling for you." He goes, "Well, I love you guys." But he was making his rounds, and in his heart, he was wanting to say goodbye to his friends. And that's exactly, and that's the emotion that James carried.
Well, I know me and Becky and Harry all had talked just days before, and Becky even told me that probably one of the last halfway long phone conversations he had was with me. And he talked to me when he was in the hospital in Rocky Mountain. And I mean, he was just about out of it. But I can always remember it. I mean, I get to carry this with me, and I told you this at the funeral, and well, I told you before then. And James' last words to me, he said, "I love you, boy." He said, "You're just like one of my own." And, you know, and, oh, I know he loved me, and I know it, and I loved him. And like I say, you know, that to me was, you know, my friendship, my time with him, and so many of you folks in this room that I met through James and things. That's worth anything that ever happened between me and him, good, bad, whatever. That was the person that I remember James King for. That's what I truly remember James about. And I mean, that's the way he was. He showed me love and care at times when I truly needed it in my life. And just like, you know, Danny talked about getting a $50 check from him. That's the way James was. And you know, I've been out on the road since me and James parted ways professionally as musicians in July of '09, end of July of '09. I played my last full-time gig with him. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning, I could be traveling somewhere and my cell phone rang. "What are you doing, dog? Where you at?" And "What are you calling me for?" This lady, "I'm just gonna see what she's doing. You missed me." You always get that, "You're still my dog." You love me, don't you? You love me, don't you? You miss me? Yeah, I do love you. I miss you, James. Let me sing this song to you. You know? We gotta do a record. Yeah.
Okay, but we're not at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Call me when I'm awake enough to know what's going on. But it's just stuff like that just sticks with you.
Well, I got to share something real quick. Adam Poindexter. Yeah. He was in the band for, I wish he was here. I wish he was sitting here with the band instead of me. But he called, I was playing with Randy Waller, and we were looking for bass players. And he went straight from James to our band, from banjo to play bass with us. And that round with him and James kind of ended unceremoniously. And about 3 months into him playing in the band, we were going down 64 or something to West Virginia, and Adam says, "Man, I gotta call him. I want to call him." And he picks up his phone and he calls, and I'm sitting right next to him in the van, and the phone rings and James answers, and you can hear it. And Adam goes, "Hey, old man." And then James starts crying. He goes, "You do love me." "You miss me. You love me." Bawling. And Poindexter goes, "I've always loved you, brother." You know? But it was great.
Well, I know all about it. I get him.
You know how much James loves you quickly, right? I'd be on the computer at 9 and he'd get up. It'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, "What did I rap and keep looking song? Will you miss me when I'm not?" He doesn't like it, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
I swear he watched it over 1,000 times.
Well, want to sing a song?
We can try something.
James, like I said, he moved up to Delaware and hung out. Well, he fell in love with the Lundy family, a gentleman named Ted Lundy. And they recorded a record on Rounder, Ted and Dad, and recorded a tune that came from the Gaglax area. And James recorded it and became one of his most popular tunes too. And this is in the early formative days of the band, and I think maybe one of the first records he did for Rounder. and it's called Love, Sick and Sorrow. No, let's do the old swinging bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
he also loved, our fathers played this real mountain style of bluegrass, and to James, that's what he grew up on, and that's what he loved, families, and so this song immediately is a James King song from there on, you know.
I want to say something here right quickly too, and not steering away from James or anything, but ain't all you folks in this room very proud and honored to see this old boy get his help up. Last night, I can honestly say, once again, and I can feel the presence last night of James looking down on Danny, and because James dearly loved Danny, and he loved singing with Danny as much as anything in this world, and he admired him so much. He truly did. James was the one that introduced me to Danny quite some time back, and we traveled together. It seemed like, but.
Yeah, there was I don't know if most people know this, obviously Danny does, but, you know, we had talked about doing a Danny and James record, and we actually went to, you know, and had a contract, but it just, you know, there's two people on the road going different places.
Different directions and different spots in our life.
And my idea for the record was to do stuff mostly from the Galax area, which would have been really fun, but
Really.
Say this right here right quickly when we do the song. You know, Danny is one of the bands that's in the business today, and him and James were so much alike in the traveling things. I mean, and I think about Dale McCurry in this vein, because I had a long talk with Dale one time at the Folk Fest we played up north. These bands, Danny's out here playing festivals across the country and Canada and all different places. And in the same essence, I mean, when things is down, you can still find him in the small places locally playing and still doing that, and still enjoys doing that, still bringing his music to those type crowds. Well, James was the very same way. He was all the time hunting, and as you can say, hungry for the music and wanting to play all the time.
No matter what kind of job he
Yeah, it didn't make no difference.
Have
And
James King Day.
you know, we came out of the Marriott last night, and Dan Tominski was sitting out there, and the first thing Dan said on the park bench, we walked over to him, he said, Danny Paisley winning male vocalist of the year. He said, it's about damn time.